My child, pause for a moment. I want you to listen closely, for there are things you cannot see with your eyes, but which reverberate through the atmosphere around you. Have you ever entered a room and felt the air suddenly grow heavy, though no one has spoken? Have you noticed a smile remains, yet the eyes no longer shine as they once did? Those small signs are the alarm bells I am ringing for you today. Do not be quick to dismiss them as mere coincidence, for behind those shifts lies a quiet struggle over outlooks and values. Beloved, I know you have thought that disagreement is simply a normal difference. Indeed, difference in itself is natural. But when a heart cannot accept the light you carry, that difference can become a silent crack that gradually widens into a chasm of separation. I do not say this to alarm you, but to open your eyes to the truth that some people, even those very close to you, cannot bear the steadiness of the life you have chosen. Not because you are wrong, but because the light within you unintentionally exposes the darkness inside them. Imagine you hold a small lamp as you step into a dark room. The one in the shadow is not necessarily your enemy yet. Your light makes them uncomfortable by revealing what they would rather keep hidden. Instead of letting the light guide the way, they may turn their back or even try to snuff it out. This is the essence of many conflicts in life perspective. They do not remain harmless differences, but become collisions because one side cannot tolerate the presence of the other. My child, do not think I exaggerate. Remember, words that once were warm now carry sarcasm. Gestures that used to be friendly turn into calculated distance. You may ask yourself, am I being overly sensitive? Am I imagining this? But I tell you, no, you are not imagining it. The spirit within you is warning you to recognize that reality is changing. The alarm does not ring to make you afraid, it rings so you may prepare. The world around you is full of noise, busyness, false praise, seemingly harmless conversations. Yet amid all that sound, I send you a quiet knocking. Pay attention. Something is not right. Do not ignore that knocking. If you do, you will miss the chance to prevent a small crack from becoming an earthquake. Know that disagreement over life views is not always harmful. It can be an opening for broadened perspective, for learning patience, and for loving without controlling. But when such disagreement becomes a tool used to humiliate, manipulate, or deny your core values, it is no longer harmless. It becomes an arrow aimed at your identity and your faith. I do not want you to live suspicious of everyone. No, what I want is for you to learn discernment. Listen to your soul. When do you feel peace? And when do you sense an invisible ripple? Watch behavior. When do words align with deeds, and when do they contradict? Do not let outward sweetness hide inner truth, for the enemy of truth often lurks beneath an innocent appearance. Beloved, the alarm rings not for you to sever every tie, but for you to walk wisely. I want you to perceive early so you can set boundaries before it is too late. Picture a house with tiny cracks in its walls. If you ignore them, wind and rain will seep in and gradually erode the whole structure. But if you timely fill the gaps and erect a fence, you will preserve safety and peace for yourself. Let me remind you of this: you were not created to please everyone. If you keep trying to satisfy all people, you will lose yourself. I have placed within you a direction, a set of values, and a light. There will be those who do not understand, and some will even oppose you. That does not define you. It only proves that the light is real. Do not extinguish it simply because you fear resistance. My child, now I want to plant within you a spirit of courage. When you notice unusual signs, do not rush to blame yourself or panic. See them as alarm bells calling you to wakefulness. These bells are not signals of doom, but of protection. They sound so that you may know I am watching, walking with you, and guiding you step by step. You are not alone. I am here in every breath you take. So focus. Ask yourself, what are the values I will never compromise? What is worth protecting, even if it means facing opposition? Write them down, engrave them on your heart. For on the day of the storm, these very things will keep you from falling. And when others try to turn your differences into weapons against you, you will not tremble because you know exactly where you stand. My child, the alarm has already sounded. I have knocked on the door of your heart. The question now is not will this happen or not, but how will you respond? Will you ignore it and allow silent ruin to spread, or will you rise, listen, and lay a new foundation for peace? The choice rests in your hands. But I promise you this: If you choose to awaken, I will grant you wisdom so you are not deceived, strength so you are not subdued, and peace so you may walk through the storm unshaken. My child, I want you to understand an important truth. Sometimes the sharpest collisions come from those closest to you. It is not strangers who hurt you most, but the familiar faces, the ones you once trusted, who become the source of weariness. And you have often asked yourself, why is it so? Why does love turn into distance, closeness into burden? The answer lies in a deeper law. Light and darkness always react to each other, especially when they share the same space. The light in you is your values, your faith, the way you choose to walk, even when the road is narrow and steep. But that light is not always welcomed. Some are accustomed to dwelling in shadows where compromise, passivity, or old patterns have long been normalized. When your light shines, it not only illuminates the path, but also exposes what they do not wish to see. And in that moment, rather than letting the light guide them, they feel threatened by it. Beloved, I want you to remember this light exists to shine, not to burn. The light within you is not a weapon, but others may feel it like a flame touching their unhealed wounds. This is why a small reminder from you can provoke anger, why a simple choice to live truthfully can make others feel judged, even when no judgment has left your lips. Picture this: two radios turned on at the same time but tuned to different frequencies. Both broadcast sound, yet when combined they create nothing but noise. Neither is wrong, only the frequencies are misaligned. In the same way, within family, friendships, or even marriage, when two value systems collide, the echoes create tension. You often think the other person is opposing you, but in reality what they resist is the clash of life frequencies. My child, what I want you to avoid is personalizing everything. Do not hastily conclude I am not good enough, or the other is completely bad. The issue is not the worth of each person, but the conflict of values. A new seed taking root may unintentionally press against old roots buried deep in the soil. Both seek nourishment, but the earth has its limits. Without wisdom, the growth of one side will make the other feel pushed back. This is the very picture of many family conflicts. The collision is not born of malice, but of a space too narrow to contain two opposite directions of growth. My child, I know you often want to hurry and label things: who is right, who is wrong, who belongs to the light, who belongs to darkness. But I call you to patience. Do not rush to judge. Sometimes the person you see as opposing you is only afraid of change, afraid of losing their place, afraid of losing what feels familiar. That fear shows up as anger, defensiveness, or cold silence. If you only look at the surface, you will write them off as bad. But if you look deeper, you will find a wounded heart struggling beneath. This does not mean you should tolerate destruction. No boundaries must remain. Yet when you understand that the core issue is a clash of values, your spirit will be lighter. You will learn not to let resentment take root. Instead, you will build fences of clarity while keeping a compassionate heart. In this way, the light within you will not become a consuming flame, but a steadfast lamp, one that guides you and opens a chance for others to see a different path. Remember, not every conflict must be settled by win or lose. There are times when what's needed is not convincing the other to change, but standing firm in your own convictions with peace. Do not let an argument turn into a battlefield where every word becomes an arrow. Let it be a classroom where both you and they have the opportunity to examine yourselves. You will see that true light does not need to shout to prove itself. It only needs to shine patiently. A small oil lamp cannot overpower darkness by force, but by burning steadily it compels the dark to give way. So it is with the light in you. It needs neither attack nor demonstration. It simply needs to remain faithful, and time will reveal the difference. Be cautious about quick labeling. When you brand someone as entirely dark, you inadvertently shut the door on their chance to be illumined. But if you see them as a radio slightly off frequency, you will know how to respond. Either lower the volume so you are not overwhelmed, or keep your own channel steady so you are not swept away. That is the art of living wisely amid disagreement. Do not fear collision. Collision only shows that you are walking a different way. That difference proves you are growing, breaking out of an old cocoon. Yes, it may discomfort others, but it also confirms that the light in you is real. If you remain steadfast, that light will not only illuminate you, but one day warm the very hearts that once rejected it. Therefore, be patient. Do not try to smother conflict with false silence, nor let anger drag you into cycles of confrontation. Instead, choose to stand firm in your values, while remembering that the other is also a soul wrestling in the dark. You are not responsible for saving them, but you can bear witness through the way you live. Beloved, the light within you is a gift. Do not use it to burn, but do not hide it either. Let it shine even if others frown or turn away. True light cannot be extinguished. It will always find a way through, even when doors are shut tight. And I promise you this, if you keep that light, I will be with you, so that it becomes not only your own light, but a beam that connects you to me, the source of everlasting light. My child, it is time for you to learn an important skill for surviving in this layered, deceptive world: discernment. Not every sweet word comes from love, and not every light truly comes from me. Some lights are merely illusions, like fireflies flickering in the night. They look bright, but they cannot guide the way. Therefore, I instruct you, test the spirit, test the intention, and test the fruit. These are 3 keys to open the door to truth, so that you will not be deceived by surface appearances. First, test the spirit. When you encounter advice, an action, or an attitude, ask yourself, what spirit lies behind this? Some things sound pleasant, yet plant fear. Some things seem forceful, but drain hope. The spirit that comes from me will always bring peace, even when the words are frank. A deceptive spirit offers comforting words at first, but afterward leaves heaviness, doubt, and an emptiness in the soul. You must learn to discern not only by words, but by the deep vibration of the spirit. If after hearing you feel drawn closer to me, that is a sign of truth. If after hearing you feel distant from me, filled with fear and confusion, then know it did not come from me. Next, test the intention. Often someone's action may appear helpful, yet its motive hides control. Intention is the root. Action is only the branch and leaf. Ask yourself, is this person building me up or tearing me down? Do they want me to be free or to be dependent? True motive cannot remain hidden forever, for it leaks through tone of voice, through the look they give, through how they react when things don't go their way. Be alert to the fact that a well-meaning deed born of a wrong motive can become a snare, while a stern word rooted in a clean intention can be a healing medicine. Finally, my child, test the fruit. Look at the harvest. Do the words or actions bring life or death? Do they open hope or strangle faith? Do they foster love or cultivate bitterness? I have given you time as a just judge. Many things are uncertain at first, but wait and watch the results. Every seed reveals its nature by harvest season. If you see a relationship that only sows doubt, erodes peace, and extinguishes light, have the courage to acknowledge that the outcome is evident. But if, despite clashes, the final result is growth, clearer truth, and deeper love, then that is a sign that it comes from me. Beloved, discernment is not merely an ability, but a discipline. It requires patience and the refusal to rush to judgment. You are often eager to label things right or wrong at once, but I teach you to step back, breathe, and observe. Truth never fears time. If it is true, it will stand. If it is false, time will expose it. Remember also, discernment is not meant to make you a harsh judge, but to make you the gatekeeper of your own heart. A gate opened too wide allows every toxic influence to flood in. A gate shut too tightly keeps out light and love as well. Discernment helps you know when to open and when to draw the latch. I have placed within you an inner compass, a spiritual intuition. That compass must be regularly aligned with my word, otherwise it will be distorted by the world's magnetic fields. Read my word, pray, keep your mind quiet so that the inner compass always points true. Do not despise intuition, for it is one of the ways I whisper to you. Do not forget that discernment should be confirmed within a healthy community. Alone you may not always see clearly. When you share with mature, wise people, you receive additional perspectives. Like a gemstone that reveals its brilliance only when turned under many lights, truth too becomes clearer when viewed from different angles. Learn to consult, but do not surrender your responsibility to others. The final responsibility remains in your hands together with mine. I know that you fear being deceived and straying from the right path. But take heart, I will not abandon you in the darkness. Each time you sincerely seek the truth, I will bring light. You may stumble, you may make mistakes, yet I will realign your steps as long as you continue to listen. Do not let the fear of failure paralyze you into inaction. Wisdom is gained by walking forward while learning discernment along the way. My child, remember these three keys. Test the spirit, test the intention, and test the outcome. Whenever confusion clouds your vision, use them as three touchstones of gold. Do not be deceived by appearances. Look deeper. Just as a jeweler discerns true gold through fire, you too must learn to discern truth by the fire of the Spirit. And I promise you this, if you persevere, you will grow sharper, and no power will be able to deceive you easily. Beloved one, you are called to walk in truth. Discernment is the pair of eyes that allows you to see through the fog. Do not close your eyes and walk blindly, nor tremble in fear and stand still. Open your eyes, test what is before you, and allow me to lead you through every layer of interpretation until you reach eternal reality. Now I call you to take one step further, establish boundaries. For if you only recognize the problem, but fail to act, you will still be swept into the same old cycles. Remember this, my child, boundaries are not walls of hatred but fences that guard life. They are not meant to banish love but to protect it from being distorted. Have you ever seen a garden without a fence? Every creature may wander in, trample it, and devour its fruit. Not because the garden has no value, but because it is left unprotected. Your soul is the same. If you leave its gates wide open, anyone may walk in, steal your peace, tear your trust, and drain your strength. Then you will wonder, why am I exhausted? Why do I feel empty? The answer is simple. You did not build a fence. My beloved, healthy boundaries begin with discerning the limits of your sharing. Not everything within your heart needs to be exposed. Some seeds are too fragile to be revealed prematurely. If you lay them bare too soon, another's careless word or frown could crush them. You must learn to choose carefully with whom you share, when you share, and how much you share. This is especially vital in sensitive areas such as your personal information, your finances, and your time. No one has the right to enter the holy ground of your soul unless you open it. And you do have the right to say, that is enough. Often you fear saying no because you worry it will make you appear selfish. But I tell you, saying no at the right time is an act of love. It preserves your strength so that you still have the energy to give real love. If you agree to every demand, your heart will be drained and left with only bitterness. Where then is love? Learn to say no with calmness, not with anger nor with sharp words. A gentle yet firm no is a gate of protection. Remember, this nonviolent communication is the key to sustaining boundaries. Many build fences with anger, but those fences quickly turn into cold, impenetrable walls. I have not called you to build walls, but to raise transparent fences. They are clear and firm, yet they still allow light and love to flow through. When you set boundaries, speak with clarity, brevity, without accusation and without comparison. Instead of saying, you always drain me, you may say, I need time to rest, so I cannot join today. Instead of you only use me, you may say, I am not able to provide financial help at this moment. This is how you speak the truth without planting thorns. My child, understand this: boundaries do not create distance. They purify love. For love is not meant to be exploited, but to be given freely. Only when you know where the limit lies can you love without bondage and give without being consumed. I also want you to recognize that setting boundaries is not only about speaking to others, but first about speaking to yourself. You must affirm within, I will not allow myself to remain in toxic environments. I will not use money to purchase acceptance. I will not sacrifice my health to please others. When you make such commitments to yourself, boundaries become inner strength, not mere slogans. My child, remember that your enemy rarely destroys your boundaries openly. He gnaws away at them slowly. A small, seemingly harmless request for help, a minor demand, one broken commitment of just this once. If you are not vigilant, the cord will be stretched little by little until you no longer recognize when your freedom was taken. Therefore, be steadfast. A small no today will spare you a great breakdown tomorrow. Know that some people will not like your boundaries. They will call you cold, ungrateful, even disloyal. But listen, such reproach does not define you. Boundaries are not meant to please others. They are meant to protect the life within you. Those who truly love you will learn to respect them. Those who only wish to take advantage will reveal themselves by how they react. And through that process you will see clearly who truly belongs on your journey. My child, I know you sometimes feel guilty for setting boundaries, as if you are cutting away a part of love. But remember, even a river needs banks. Without banks, the water would spill everywhere and wash away villages. Banks do not destroy the water. They guide it, nourish the fields, and cool the land. Likewise, boundaries do not destroy love. They direct love to flow to the right place and in the right way. Beloved, boundaries are also a way for you to protect your time. Time is the most precious gift I have given, yet many allow it to be stolen hour by hour, minute by meaningless conversations and unnecessary demands. Learn to prioritize what nourishes your soul and what merely drains your strength. When you say no to the trivial, you will find your time enriched and available for what truly matters. And finally, my child, do not forget that boundaries let you live freely within love. They allow you to walk without burdens, to give without regret, to keep your peace without fear of being exploited. Boundaries do not make you closed off. They make you like a garden, with a fence inside are fragrant flowers and sweet fruit. Outside, anyone who wishes to enter must pass through the gate of respect. My child, I want to teach you a secret few. Understand, healing words are different from winning words. Many use words as swords, sharp, aimed at cutting the other down. But true words from me are not given to slay, but to heal, to illuminate, and to open ways toward reconciliation. You have seen how conversations turn into battlefields, where each phrase is an arrow, silence becomes a tactic, and pride outweighs love. I do not call you to enter that path. I call you to transformational communication. Beloved, transformational communication is not a social skill you pick up as a trick. It is an attitude of the heart. It begins with regarding the other, not as an enemy to defeat, but as a soul trying to express itself. Therefore, I give you a simple framework, practice it faithfully, and it will become a bridge rather than a wall. The framework has 4 steps: observation, feeling, need, clear, request. First, observe without judging. When you start with accusation, you cause the other to stiffen and raise defensive walls. But when you begin with a neutral observation, you open space for dialogue. For example, instead of saying, "You are always indifferent to me," you might say, "This week I noticed you came home late 4 days in a row." An observation states the facts without blame, and that helps the other to be willing to listen. Next, speak your true feeling. Many hide their emotions behind reproach, but reproach only obscures what really needs to be expressed. Say, "That makes me feel sad," or "I feel anxious when I don't hear from you." Feeling is the window of the heart, and when you open it with sincerity, the other will more readily touch your humanity than confront an accusation. Then you must express your needs. Emotion is only a signal. Need is the root. A person who is angry is not angry merely because of noise, but because they need quiet to rest. A person who is sad is not sad merely because someone forgot to say congratulations, but because they need to be acknowledged. When you name the need, you translate the language of feeling into something concrete, helping the other person understand the root rather than only the surface. And finally, you must make a clear request. A need that is not specified will become vague and stuck. Say, "Could you call me if you will be home later than 9 p.m.? Or I need an hour of quiet in the evening." I would like everyone in the house to respect that. A clear request tells the other person what they can do, and it helps you hold your boundaries. My child, this 4-step framework is not a rigid formula, but the rhythm of a healing conversation. As you practice it, you will see the atmosphere shift from tension to calm, from confrontation to cooperation. And the wonder is that often the other person will learn to respond in that rhythm too, and the spiral of warfare will gradually be replaced by a circle of listening. But my child, I also want you to learn another skill that is no less important: knowing when to stop. There are conversations that, despite your honesty and love, go nowhere because the other person is not seeking truth but seeking to manipulate. When you recognize the talk beginning to turn into a useless loop, when their words are no longer meant to understand but only to overpower, that is when you need to withdraw. Withdrawing does not mean defeat. A purposeful withdrawal is a powerful way of saying no. It is like a soldier who knows this ground cannot be won with sword and spear, so he pulls back to preserve his forces and wait for a more suitable moment. So you too must learn to leave the conversation when it ceases to be healthy. You can say, "I need to stop here. We will continue when we are both calmer." That is not avoidance, but protecting the heart from being poisoned. My child, I know sometimes you find these things hard to apply, especially when emotions run high. But remember, you are not called to be perfect at once. You are called to practice. Each time you choose to observe rather than to accuse, you have won a small step. Each time you express a genuine feeling instead of hiding behind anger, you have advanced a little farther along the path. And I promise those small steps will accumulate into a life that knows how to speak truth in love. My child, words are seeds. The seed of bitterness will grow into weeds. The seed of love will grow into a flourishing tree. Choose carefully the seeds you sow into the hearts of others. Remember, what you sow not only affects them but also returns to your own soul. If you sow sour words, your heart will become bitter. But if you sow words that heal, you will enjoy fragrant blossoms and sweet fruit from what you have spoken. Therefore, my child, focus not on winning the argument but on keeping your heart pure. For in the end, people will not remember how many arguments you won, but whether you left in them a wound or a healing. I call you to be a sower of healing. And when you are weary, when you are tempted to let go, remember that I am the one who spoke the first word and the last word over your life. My word formed the heavens and the earth, and my word also builds strength within you. Let my word shape your words, full of grace, yet full of truth, gentle, yet resolute. Thus your speech will not be mere sound, but an instrument of transformation. My child, there is a subtle rhythm in life that only those who listen will hear, the rhythm of your own heart and the rhythm of mine. Wisdom is not always speaking more, nor always remaining silent. Wisdom is knowing when your heart should speak, when it should keep still, and when it must withdraw to preserve life. Wisdom is knowing your rhythm and mine. Today I will teach you to hear that rhythm and to respond at the right time. First, imagine life as a piece of music. Some notes must ring out to open the piece. Some passages require silence so the breath can recover. And there are moments to withdraw, like an artist stepping off the stage to preserve their voice for the next performance. You are not always the soloist. Sometimes you are the harmony, sometimes you are the pause that makes the instrument stand out. Knowing how to tell these moments apart is a mark of spiritual wisdom. When should you speak up? Speak when the truth needs defense, when silence would wound another, when an injustice can be halted by a courageous word. Speaking up is also an act of service. It preserves reputation, protects the vulnerable, and sets boundaries when something violates your core values. A sign that you should speak is when a fire for justice rises in your heart, together with an inner peace, not impulsiveness, but a clear prompting confirmed through prayer and discernment. But you must speak with wisdom, not by shouting or attacking, but by speaking the truth in love, as I have taught. Prepare your words, choose the right moment, and aim for healing or clarity, not for humiliation. When you speak, let your goal be to build, not to destroy. And remember, sometimes a gentle but steadfast voice brings about greater transformation than any loud outcry. When should you remain silent? Silence is not surrender, but an art of keeping calm. It is wisdom gathering strength. Silence is appropriate when your words would only add to the noise, when impulsive emotion might turn speech into a wound, or when silence allows you to observe more carefully and gather more evidence. Silence is also a way of respecting others. Sometimes the quiet itself communicates that you do not wish to drag the conversation down into argument. Signs that you should be silent include a racing heart, a voice that is about to harden, or when the aim is no longer truth, but self-vindication. Put your hand on your chest, take 3 deep breaths, and ask, what is my purpose in saying this? To win or to heal? If the answer is lost in the storm, remain silent. Pray for guidance and choose a different time. Silence can be a form of prayer in action, a way for you and me to work together behind the scenes. And when must you withdraw? Purposeful withdrawal is an act of protection, protecting body, emotions, and spirit. Withdraw when dialogue turns into manipulation, when the other uses deceit, threats, or abuse, when your physical safety or mental security is threatened. Withdraw also when every effort to build a doorway to conversation has failed. When you find yourself dragged into a painful loop with no change in sight, withdrawal is not failure. On the contrary, it is the wise decision of one who preserves energy and waits for another season. When you withdraw, do it with dignity, state clearly, briefly, and decisively, I need time to calm down. We will speak again when it is appropriate, that is, a purposeful withdrawal. If safety is at risk, withdraw quickly and seek support immediately, a trusted person, your community, or the authorities if necessary. My dear child, I want you to notice several warning signs you must not ignore when the other's words repeatedly follow the tactics of manipulation, inducing guilt, shaming, threatening, when they deny the boundaries you set, when they deliberately try to isolate you from supports, when they attempt to control your emotions. Those signs warn that this is no longer a healthy argument, but a campaign of destruction. In such times, withdrawal is the path to survival. But withdrawal must be strategic. It is not abandoning in anger, but withdrawing with a plan. Preserve evidence, inform someone you trust, limit contact, strengthen digital security, and if needed, seek professional help. See withdrawal like removing a net so you do not get caught, and when the time comes, I will guide you either to return or to move forward on a new path. You need to practice this rhythm. Speak when necessary. Keep silence when wise. Withdraw when safety is threatened. These habits require rehearsal. Each time you practice, you will hear the beat more clearly, the voice of truth, the sound of my voice. And when you hesitate, find a trusted person for counsel. Ask me for clarity through prayer. Use community as a mirror to confirm your rhythm. I also want you to remember that sometimes you must accept the pain of silence. There are stories that must be kept private and wounds that require time to heal. Do not mistake choosing silence for weakness. It is a gentle form of courage. And there will be times when you must speak up to protect others that requires bravery, and I will give you that courage when you ask for it. My child, at every step I am with you. When you hesitate between speaking and remaining quiet, between standing your ground and withdrawing, ask, does this rhythm align with mine? If the answer is yes, even if it is a small, quiet yes, speak. If the answer is no, remain silent. If the answer is dangerous, withdraw. Wisdom is a lifelong lesson. Yet I grant you the capacity to learn it when you humbly listen and practice. Remember this, not every voice must be amplified, not every silence needs breaking, and not every relationship must be preserved at all costs. Wisdom is knowing which rhythm to choose, so that you may live authentically, love deeply, and keep peace amid the storm. Go forward, and I will walk with you, guiding, protecting, and healing. My child, before you close this chapter of your journey, I want to place one last reminder on your lips, a compass stone for the days you will walk into. As I have spoken, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. Let this scripture lead you. You belong to the light. Do not allow conflict, however great, to define you. Your calling does not originate from people's opinions or from prevailing trends. It springs from where I have placed your heart. There will be seasons when people do not understand you, moments when words, opposition, or darkness from familiar places test you. But I say to you today, the calling I have given you cannot be taken by anyone provided you remain faithful to it. Focusing on your calling is not an escape from wounds. It is choosing that the wound will not dominate you, choosing that the greater purpose will be your guide. Child, to preserve your calling, you must guard your vision. Each morning, remind yourself of what I have entrusted you with. What is your purpose? Whom are you called to love? What in this world needs your hands and your heart? When you keep that vision, every surrounding noise will fall to the background, and you will know which tasks deserve your time, energy, and emotion. Prioritizing life by your calling is how you conserve spiritual strength so you are not swept into meaningless conflicts. A calling also needs a healthy community, people who walk alongside you, who understand, and who correct you when you stray. I did not make you to walk alone. I made you as part of a body. Seek out a few trustworthy hearts, those mature in faith companions, who will not judge people, who will speak plainly when you lose your way, but will also hold you when you fall. A community is where I use others to sharpen you, heal you, and nurture your calling. Do not be stingy in finding and keeping such people. They form the orbit that keeps you on course. Service is the language of calling. When you give yourself to service, even in small things, you make that calling alive. Do not wait for fame or recognition. Serve out of faithfulness. What you do in quiet holds more worth before me than any public praise. Let your daily actions be a declaration: I choose to love. I choose to serve. Thus, disagreement will no longer be a reason for you to abandon your work, but the context in which you steadfastly do what is right. My child, trust my guidance. This is the foundational word. When you fix your eyes on me rather than on the waves, you will see things fall into place. Some earthly cares you fear may come and go. Doors you hoped would open may close. Yet the plan I have for you is secure as you remain faithful. Trust is not passivity. It is a courageous act. You keep working while your hand rests in mine. You keep walking while your eyes remain fixed on the eternal goal. I know you fear loss, the loss of loved ones, reputation, opportunities. But I say to you what truly belongs to you, no one can take away while you remain faithful. Sometimes I tell you to be patient. Sometimes I allow you to withdraw in order to realign. Sometimes I permit temporary disadvantage so that a far greater good may be preserved. Each time you choose faithfulness to your calling, I strengthen you with another layer of invisible armor, a peace that steadies a clarity of mind and the resources to love while still keeping healthy boundaries. The blessing I give you today is threefold: protection, peace, and the strength to love with limits. I protect you from schemes of harm you have not yet perceived. I place a covering around your heart so poisonous words cannot pierce it. I also grant you a peace that surpasses understanding, so that when your soul trembles, there remains a warm flame at your center that no storm can extinguish. And I give you strength, not the strength of force, but the strength of patience, the strength to speak truth in love, the strength to refuse toxic ties. But a calling is not only to receive, it is to give. Remember that every gift you receive must be reflected in your life by serving others. When you offer your talents, your time, and your heart to those who hunger for love, you expand my kingdom. Never allow conflict to make you withdraw into a selfish cocoon. Let every trial become an opportunity to exercise your calling to love, while maintaining boundaries to work without seeking reward, to stand firm without imprisoning. My beloved, there will be moments when you feel alone amid the throng. In those times, recall Scripture and let the light within you speak. You are the light of the world. Do not let sorrow or opposition erase that sacred identity. Continue to walk even if your steps are slow. You are not judged by the fleeting reactions of the world, but by your faithfulness to me. Before you close this chapter and move into the next, I give you a concrete action today. Write down 3 things. 1 thing about the calling you intend to keep. 1 person in the community you need to draw nearer to. 1 small act of service you will perform this week. Put it in writing, commit it to yourself, and offer it to me. In doing this, you not only keep a promise to yourself, but open the door for me to continue working in your life. Child of mine, you belong to the light. Do not let short-lived conflicts dim your long-term mission. Walk in peace, patience, and courage. I have placed this calling within you, and I will not abandon you along the way. Keep your eyes on the goal, keep your heart open to love, and keep boundaries that preserve life. Go now, carry this blessing with you. You are protected, you have peace, and you have the strength to live in truth and love. Thank you for listening to this message. Know that you are not merely an audience, but one chosen to live in the presence of God's Word every day. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any sacred messages. Amen.